Hi, this is Lee Phillips. I'm an attorney. I want to talk to you for 2 seconds about keeping receipts for the tax man. And I'm here with Ben Rucker. He's in our office, sort of. Ben actually is a young guy. You can wave, Ben, and say hi.
And what do you mean by sort of?
Sort of what?
I'm in your office, sort of.
Well, you're independent.
Oh, okay.
From a legal standpoint. He's young, I understand. We'll get him there yet. Ben has actually spent the last 7 years as a special auditor for the IRS, and there's only a handful of those guys, so he kind of knows what the IRS is doing, even though he looks a little baby-faced there. But at any rate, the problem is for years I've traveled, and by the time the IRS gets around to auditing you, we've got some problems. One is I put everything into the envelopes, and I keep all my receipts. I've got all the McDonald's receipts and everything else in the envelopes. And when the IRS gets around to auditing 5, 6, 7 years from now, fact of the matter is a lot of those seats, they're heat sensitive and they've basically disappeared. So Ben's going to teach you how to keep the receipts for your business, for your travel, all of that sort of stuff, so that the IRS is happy. In fact, you do this on your own, just on your own 1040s and stuff. And in the electronic age, we can keep those receipts very effectively now, basically forever. So Ben, do you want to give them a chance? We'll bring the camera around here and just look over your shoulder and look at the scanner and computer. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
So one of the common questions I get from clients and different individuals is, what type of records do I need to keep? When I worked as an IRS agent, a lot of times I get receipts that were blank. And what happens is over the years, the ink fades off of them, like Lee mentioned. And when that happens, the IRS isn't going to be lenient to you. You're responsible for keeping receipts that they can read and see. If they can't read them anymore, that's your responsibility. So one of the common misconceptions out there that a lot of people have is that they need to keep the original receipts, and that's not true. You can actually scan your receipts, and the electronic copy is just as good as the original receipts. In fact, let me show you what I do. I have a whole, I probably gather this many receipts in 1 or 2 days. And so let me show you what I do. So right here I have a receipt from Costco. This is for some office supplies, papers and pens and things like that I purchased. So what I do is I send it through my scanner. I personally use a ScanSnap IX500, but any scanner will do. I like this one personally, but anyways, here's how it works. I send the receipt through my scanner. I don't need the original receipt anymore. I can throw that away. And then with ScanSnap, I'm able to save the receipt. So this one, what I like to do is when I save each receipt on my computer, I like to type out, save it as the name of the vendor. So this one is Costco. And then after that, I save it as the date. So this one's 10/30/2014. And then after that, I like to put the total amount. And I'll show you why I do that in just a minute. So I'll do this as Costco 10/31/14 is the date, and then space, and then I'll do 3263. And I'll save that to my computer. It's done. So now I'm ready to go to the next receipt. Anyways, the beauty behind this is, obviously I input this into QuickBooks, and you can put it into any financial program, whatever you use. But what happens is when you're audited, the IRS is going to want to see your books and records of your business. And what they'll do is they'll take those books and records and they'll sample receipts off of that. Depending on the auditor, normally if you can show them those receipts that they sample, they're not going to make you grab every single one of them. But if you can't, they're going to want to see every single receipt. Let's say that the IRS agent says, hey, I want to see that receipt for Costco for $32.63. Rather than digging through all my receipts and going through all my drawers and trying to find where that one receipt is, here's how simple it is if you do what I just showed you. And just go to my computer on the start menu and I can hit 3263. There's a receipt right there. It's right here on my screen. I can even print that off and give you a copy, or I can take every receipt that you want to see and I can put that on a disc and I can give that to you that way. Something else I do too is I own multiple rental properties, and so I actually scan and save each of these receipts into separate folders, and those folders are labeled with the address of each of my rentals. And you could do the same thing if you have multiple businesses. Scan these receipts and put those into different folders. And then what I've started to do is I started to make folders inside that folder that separates it for each year. So everyone has their own style or their own method that's going to keep it easy for them. But let me tell you what it will do for you. As an IRS agent, I remember when I started looking at books and records of taxpayers, if they're able to find receipts right away and they're able to document items, it really limited the scope of the audit, because I was able to have credibility in their books and records that they had. And I lost confidence that I was going to find adjustments on their return because they were able to come up with the records so easily. And it could do the same thing for you. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that this can help simplify your life and your record keeping, and you can get rid of all your receipts that you have laying around your office.